Welcome back to Liberty Marksman. I'm Ken, he's Scott, and today we're installing an ALG rail. On what, you ask?
I believe it's a...
You're supposed to ask
pistol?
what. They can't answer me.
Screw that.
This is the lower that we machined in the last video doing the 80%. So we got a pistol lower, we need to finish the upper.
And today we're going to be putting on the ALG Defense EMR B2. Let me show you a close-up. Got a little bit of rail, key mod all the way around. These holes are for our barrel nut. These are our alignments to our upper, and a little cutout right here for your hand.
Very nice, Vanna. Can I buy a bottle?
Alright, so, want to go through the instructions and tell them how to do it, or you just want to show them how to do it?
How about we do a combination of the two?
How about a combo?
Come on in. Come on down. Well, before we do the install, why don't we get a weight on this? So, here's the rail. Here's the barrel nut. And the screws. What are we at?
240 grams, or 8.5 ounces.
Okay. So it's a little heavy for a short rail, but not horrible. Alright, unlike some other rails, they got a totally different system on how to get their handguard aligned with the upper receiver. So unlike a bunch of other rails, this installs a little different. They comes with a color-coded shim kit. As you can see, there's some color around there. And you have to buy separately a installation wrench. Now this is where it starts to get tricky. If you see here on the top of the wrench, right here, there are like timing marks, if you will. And what they tell you to do is by hand run this down to a certain area, and then that's going to tell you what shims you need. So we'll show you how to do that. Alright, so you need to start out by putting some kind of lubricant on the threads. We're using this Battle-Born grease because it helps you when you're torquing down that you're not getting a mechanical bind on the threads. Now, they tell you to start with the shim with the black marks on it, and you want to run that down your barrel, and then you can thread your nut on. Now here's what your nut looks like. You can see all the mounting locations. They tell you to run it down, hand tight, run it down, back it off 3 times, and then that way you should fully seat your barrel. So, and that's run it down by hand using the tool so you can get a little bit of torque on it. You just tighten, loosen, tighten, loosen. Now tighten it again. Okay, once you've ran it down by hand, you need to run your wrench up. So we're calling timing marks here. Whichever one lines up with the center is going to show you what shims they suggest installing next. Now we have a little chart here that they send with it.
The whole idea of the shim changing is we lined up here, but you want to get your pre-torque space, which is the wider of the notches on the wrench, to that same position that we originally started out with the black shim. So if you're on that first one, was where we were, we're going to end up using the green and the purple shims. You swap, so then you back this all off.
Pull out the black shim.
Pull out the black shim, put the green and purple shim in. This should be in the center of your rail, and then when you actually torque it down, you want to be to your final tension point, which is the last notch on this wrench. Let's show you how that's done.
So let's take this off and change out our shims. Pulling the black shim off, and we are installing the green and purple. And they say that'll line it up perfect, so let's find out. They also say that when you torque it down, you can rub the color off the shim, so you might want to have some markers sitting around just in case.
Well, they also give you the thickness of the shims, so if it ends up rubbing them off, You can always use a micrometer
Mic
to find
it.
out your mic it. You got it.
So we run this back down. We'll go back to our tool, and here's where it gets a little interesting. You see this 1 inch by however long notch here? They designed that for a pipe. No torque wrench. This is a Gutentite situation.
Yeah.
And for a pipe. Well, I have a pipe kicking around, so we got the Maintenance Man Special, which measures out to be exactly 12 inches.
It's also known as the Polish socket set. Just in case you're wondering.
Okay, with those shims in and just ran down hand tight, you can see that we need to run this larger notch here to the center of the rail. So it's going to take a little bit of torque to do that.
Yeah, and this is the wider flat that they're talking about as your pre-tension or pre-torque zone. And that's giving you your basis of that's how much you're going to have to turn this thing in order to get it to the right torque spec.
Yep, if that's not in that close to that center area, you're just going to wipe out threads. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and run this down to what they suggest center is. Alright, so that's aligned about where it should be, so let me bring this back around so you guys can check that out, and then we'll see if it actually does align the rail properly. The final timing mark is right in the middle of the pick rail there.
Well, let's see if your gas tube lines up.
Let's see how she lines up. Okay, so let's put our gas tube and block on. See, it slides right in. So we can go ahead and tighten the gas block down. This one's actually got the dimples, so as I'm tightening the set screws, you can feel it locate. So let's put our handrail on. Lined up pretty good. And bring that around so you can see that.
As you can see is the alignment. You can see the seam right here and just how well that rail lines up. I'm going to give you another angle at it. That is a really well aligned handrail.
You know what?
You can even see the through holes are perfectly lined up. We don't have it tightened down with the fasteners yet, but
yeah. And I'm gonna just, while you're zoomed in this now, I'm gonna just point out that I really like this cutout for your hand, being that it is a pistol, and you got to hold it out. It's got that nice cutout there.
yeah. And the round tube is different too. So there you go. Let's get some screws in that thing.
All right, so now we're just gonna go ahead and run these 6 screws down.
You gonna Loctite those screws?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna put some blue Loctite on them because I do want to be able to remove it again. So no red here.
Just a dabble, do you?
Now go ahead and just put these in by hand. Don't just run them down. Don't torque them down. Okay, get all your screws in and run them down, but don't torque them down until you have, because there is a nominal amount of play. This way, if you start all the screws, get it aligned, then you can go ahead and do your final torque down on all of them. All right. So now that's installing the rail is all done. I already threaded in my flash hider. We're just going to go ahead and drop the charging handle and full carrier group in.
So let's go. Put that thing together. Let's see what it looks like.
I'm going. Jesus Christ, you're worse than my wife. It's pretty good to me. Do not shoulder these. This is a pistol. You do not shoulder it. I came close.
You did. You really wanted to.
Let's go show that. We had a little issue with the flash hider. Make sure you put that on before you slide your rail down. Otherwise, you can always come in with a screwdriver or whatnot, because it's a flash hider, and if you mar it up a little bit, who cares? This is going to get a break eventually. So, all that's missing now is an optic. So I'm probably going to run the Magpul flip-ups for now until I decide what I want to do, or red dot or whatnot. So that's the ALG EMR V2 handrail install. This pistol's ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I got to get mine done.
Come on, what are we waiting for?
Then we can hit the range and actually do our comparison, because he actually chose the 300 blackout, and I went with the 5.56.
Same length barrel.
Yeah,
and just our own personal touches that we liked, and
different handguards, different components, but both the same pistol, basically, except for different calibers. And we're going to do that some velocity testing. We're going to actually pull out the Crony and see what we got going on between the two.
See which one we like better caliber-wise for a pistol.
Yeah, well, we're going to match them both up with some Magpul flip-ups at first, so our accuracy test will keep a baseline on it. But stay tuned. Like, share, and subscribe.
Check us out on Facebook and Instagram, and don't forget, don't take liberty
for granted.